What is going on, world? Welcome to another session of BEICONIC Conversations. My name is Darren Walker. I am your host tonight. Every time we do this because it's my podcast, but we're really excited to have you on tonight. I'm going to be bringing up a special guest speaker here in a little bit. For now, just want to welcome y'all, and I want to see you guys in the chat if you're watching live, and if you're driving in your car and watching the replay that we put up at another time, it's all good. Welcome. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Drop an L if you're watching live, and R if you're watching the replay, and let us know where you're tuning in from. Okay, what's going on? Welcome. All right, y'all. So welcome to BEICONIC Conversations. My name is Darren Walker. We've been doing this podcast here for over 2 years now, where we help people earn income by being themselves for a living while impacting people through their giftings, through their stories, through their testimony, and through their witness. And as we're doing that, what I've realized that there's a lot of people out there with some iconic stories. Last week, when I went on BEICONIC Conversations, I came on here and I was just having a conversation about my testimony and personally how I had gone through some things personally in my life, but found a way to have success. But as I was doing that, the business that I was a part of in 2020 went out of business, and I virtually went from making over $20,000 a month to having that completely go away and having to start something from scratch. So how I want to start today before we bring on our special guest is I want to share a question that I actually posted on my Facebook recently. And as I share that question with y'all here in a moment, I really want you to think about it. Some of you already have already answered this question on my Facebook, and some of you haven't. You don't know what I'm talking about, and so you'll see here in a second. But I'm going to go to it. It's a simple question, but the reason why I want you to check this question out is because the responses that I got were just out of this world. And so the question is this: if you're watching with me live right now, obviously you can tune in, but even if you're not watching with me live, and you're just listening to the replay, that's fine as well. But if you're watching with me live, I want you to put it in the chat because I got this question for you. And here's the question, okay? If you followed your childhood dream job, what would you be right now? So if you followed your childhood dream job or dream ambition, what would you be right now? I would love to know. If you followed your childhood dream job or ambition, like when I grow up, I'm going to be this. What would you be right now? And the reason why I want to bring that up is because when I did that question, I knew it would get some responses, but there's some really, really great ones. I haven't even been able to respond to everyone as I did it. I haven't been able to respond to tons of people. It is because, I haven't had the time yet, but I'll get to it. But here I want to kind of say some of these while I want to see if you guys put yours in the chat. So I see on Instagram, Annie, what's up, Momo? I would be a marine biologist or working with dinosaur bones. That's amazing. Working with animals for sure, somebody said. Okay. I want to see what you guys are going to put out there. So here's some of the ones that I read online. What I read online was retired Navy SEAL. Okay. I read OGBYN, a musician, somebody that's wearing a suit and going on business trips, pediatrician, marine biologist, doctor, astronaut, oceanographer. So I think that's a person that takes photos in the ocean. That's pretty cool. Dolly Parton, a lawyer, embryologist. Sorry about that. Embryologist. A lawyer or a singer, somebody said. How are you going to? Those are two extremes. I love it. Okay. Another OBGYN, a heart surgeon. Wow. Military aviation and medicine, lawyer, lots of lawyers, scientist, teacher for like dancing and hula hoop, a coach, a nurse, marine biologist, elementary ice cream truck driver, high school judge, okay, a flight attendant, a dairy farmer. I'm going to heart that because that's my mother-in-law. A nurse in the military, social worker, gymnast, Olympian, veterinarian, or this person said a veterinarian, but I became a paramedic. But my oldest son became a veterinarian, a psychologist, doctor, a cop, a veterinarian, a piano bar singer. All right, so here, the reason why I'm bringing these up is because there was over 40 responses to this question, and I'm so excited that so many people answered. But what really blew me away was the fact that, now hear me when I say this, family, what really blew me away is when I answered this question. When I asked this question, oh, I got a couple here in the chat. Okay, cool. An attorney. Gotcha. When I asked this question, this just means that there is a ton of people that are not doing the thing that they wanted to do when they were a child. They're doing something else. And that's all good. It really is. But I really thought about that because that's one of the things that I do for a living. I help people make income by doing what they're called to do, their passion, their gifting. And if you're a person out there right now, that maybe isn't walking in your gifting, maybe isn't walking in their passion, that's okay, because I didn't realize, like, when somebody asked me that question, what do you want to do when I never thought of that. When I got a little older, I'm a musician, I'm a pro drummer, I played drums for a long time, was an original band. That's a part of my story that if you've been following me maybe over even the last 10 years, you might have not known. I've just started replaying drums now at church. But it wasn't until I worked a job that I really couldn't stand, although I loved helping the people I was working with. I was working with 13 to 17-year-old mental health. In March 3rd, 2012, we got laid off because of cutbacks. I was really upset about that. When I got laid off because of the cutbacks, it really frustrated me. And I knew I wanted to do something different. I joined a network marketing company, learned about personal development, and my journey really didn't start on really answering that question. And if you're just hopping on, the question that I asked was, if you followed your childhood dream job or ambition, what would you be doing right now? It just blew my mind away how many people were not doing today. I know some people are, but it blew my mind today. It blew my mind when I realized how many people today are not doing the thing that they really want to do or they wanted to do when they were young. And what blows my mind even more is a lot of people think that where they are, it's over. I'm just gonna do what I'm doing now. I'm not gonna do what I thought I was gonna do. 1, 2, but here's the big thing I want to share. This really changed my life. If you're locked in right now to BEICONIC Conversations, when I realized that just because you had a dream, and maybe even if you're not doing it right now, that there's still a way that you could probably be involved or do it, especially in the online space, if you have a desire, a passion, a gifting, and a story around it. And so when I started to help people earn income by sharing their story online and building a business around what they're good at, I didn't realize that so many people didn't realize that that's something that they can do. You're hearing me right now, and there's people on here right now. There's people on here right now that are thinking to themselves, "Oh, I don't know how to, I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure that it's gonna work, or it sounds too good to be true." And I get all of those things. I truly do get all of those things. But really, what I want to let you know, that there is a way. There are people right now that are doing amazing, just out of this world, iconic things by sharing their story online and helping people win in a big way. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about how you can do that. And one of the ways that we're going to do is I'm going to bring up our special guest speaker here in a little while. Her name is Yvette Ulloa. She's a great friend. But what I love about her is her and her husband, their story, their testimony, their witness, and how they were able to take their story and continue to live out their passions. Here's why it's so important to me, by the way, for the person out there is like, yeah, why do you care so much? Well, I care because when I realized that I personally didn't want to work for someone else my whole life. I personally, and I'm not knocking it. My mom worked with special needs kids as a teacher for the longest. Respect her. My father came over from Jamaica. He worked on New York City bridges. Um, you know, and I respect people that are going for their money, getting their bag. Listen, I am pro get your bag. I promise. What's hard for me is when I feel like there are people out there. There's three types of people. There's the existing, the living, and there's the designing. I teach this in my master class all the time. And we teach in the mastermind, we teach people how to design. We teach them how to design a life. That means to be walking out your calling. Like, seriously, if you could get paid to do something that you really loved right now, not just what you're good at, but something you really loved. Darren, what's the difference if you ask? I'm so glad that you asked. The difference between doing something you're good at and doing something that you love, the difference is you're not a human doing, you're a human being. A lot of people are doing things, and even if you're doing well, but if someone was going to pay you a certain type of money to do something you loved, most people would be doing something else. They would be, and then walking in that calling, when you find that thing that it's really not about the money, it's about the love, and you grow it, and you help people win, and you help people strategize, and you help people just walk out their true purpose. You help people just really, even if there's ups and downs and hardships, even if people are not understanding or not, agreeing with you, you're still encouraged. You're hungry to learn. No one's got to motivate you. No one's got to inspire you. You can get motivation and inspiration from places, but really, you just love to do it. Like, you want to do it more. And here's the best part. Here's the kicker, y'all. You ready for the kicker? The kicker is when the people that you're called to bless in the gifting that you have, when their life is being impacted and changed because you're walking in your calling. Now that, and I'm just telling you, that is what freedom looks like. When you're able to serve people, and yeah, we can have a whole nother conversation. I'll ask Yvette when we bring her on here in a moment. We could have a whole nother conversation about being compensated and being compensated well for your giftings. I know people, especially Christians, because I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I, don't hold my faith back at all. And one of the things that I learned is that Christians have a hard time asking people for money. They feel like, oh, I shouldn't do that. And the thing for me is that it's like, listen, I'm with you, but the Bible does have a lot to say about getting paid the wages that you deserve because you earn them. I'm not talking about making money off of people. I'm talking to making money because you're helping people. So our motto in our mastermind is we don't use money. We don't use people to make money. We use money to build people. And so here on BEICONIC Conversations, we believe one of the best ways to be able to help you earn income and bring value to the marketplace, the MPM, I call it marketplace ministry, and what you're called to do is through your story. We're going through a milestone in our mastermind right now called Formula, where we're literally taking people step by step and asking them a series of 36 questions to help them realize the genius within, who they are, what they do, and what they produce, and how they can serve the community on the highest level. And one of the most interesting things that I've learned as I'm working with adults is they don't know their story. They don't know the true value of their story. Some of them, it's right now is going to be the first time they've heard, like, wait, I can make income from my story, my testimony, my giftings. If I put it in a product, if I learn how to sell it, if I learn how to turn it into a coaching program, or I learn how to turn it into a masterclass and mastermind. Absolutely. If you put the work in and you learn how to do it, absolutely. If you have the desire to want to impact people through your giftings and your callings, you can do it in a big way. And now you're designing. Now you're really getting to help people find out what their calling is and really help people really strive in the areas of their life where they're gifted because you help them along the way. So I am super excited to bring up a really close friend of mine, a a really, really just what I like to call an absolute icon. Her and her husband Dave, I've actually known them for a long time, and they were once just mentors. I mean, they were already doing Latin dances on stages they had conquered. They were already traveling all over the world. Already had been coached and trained up by Tony Robbins and all these things. Already had spent tens of thousands of dollars on personal development. And little old me, Darren Walker from New York, joined the network marketing company March 3rd, 2012, living in my mom's basement with negative 365 in my account. Signed up for this network marketing company, got told you got to go to this event. I went to this event reluctantly, and by the grace of God was able to stumble upon this couple and a lot of other great friends, but specifically this couple. Now, let me just tell y'all something right now. Yvette Ulloa is an absolute warrior. She's overcome health issues. She's overcome racial issues. She's overcome business obstacles, so many things. She's a world traveler. She's an absolute beast, but she's also got such a compassionate heart. She's a seven-figure earner. Let's not drop a bag on somebody's big toe. But also she's my friend. Yvette Ulloa, did you make the line?
I am here, my friend. How are you doing?
Oh, we're iconic, getting better by the millisecond. To God be the glory. How are you?
Oh, I am blessed and highly favored.
Amen. And by the way, I know your faith has been important to you, but I just love how much I've recently seen your and Dave's relationship with Jesus grow. It's been super inspiring. It's been just encouraging, and I just want to commend you for it as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, my dear brother. And one of the things I always brag on is there will be very few people that will call you because they want to support you and pray for you. They want to celebrate you, no matter what walk you're on or what company you're with. There are very few people that have that inner strength, inner vision, and come from a place from abundance. And that's you. That is you. We have so enjoyed to have our friendships through the years. No matter what, we're no longer sharing, a brand together that we used to work. And I just absolutely love watching you rise up and help so many people and bless us along the way. I always enjoy your prayers. I always enjoy your love. And we just really, really want to commend you for everything you're doing.
Well, to God be the glory. I appreciate you. Yeah, the company that we met, hey, we met in, it brought us together, but it didn't make us. You know what I mean? So when that company went out of business in 2020, life goes on. We have an abundant mindset. Why wouldn't we help serve one another? That's just the mindset that I was brought up in. My parents always taught me to be abundant. What's for us is for us, and what is for someone else is for someone else. So, hey, Yvette, thank you for your time. I know you guys were just in Dubai. You're doing events. You're helping people in your Warriors and Queens community. You just launched your podcast. We'll get to all the good things here coming up in a while. But, I really want to help feed this community today. They continue to show up. They continue to just be really, really fun people to be around. They're very consistent. And so here on Be Iconic Conversations, Yvette, we help people learn how to make income by being themselves for a living through their story, through their gifting, and through their testimony. And one of the things that I've realized over the years, sis, is that I think that people know they, especially online, you see successful people all over, doing things, traveling the world, and, they show you what they want you to see. But what I really love is when I realized that I think a lot of people didn't believe, they knew that success was out there, but is success really out there for me? Maybe there's a single mom on here right now or watching the replay event, or a single dad, someone that's lost a loved one, someone that's gone through financial struggle, someone that's gotten a divorce and remarried, or gotten a divorce and still single, had issues with children, whatever it is. And they don't know or don't believe that they can climb out or get to the next level in their life. But I have been blessed to be around people from, like yourself, all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, that are no different than a lot of the viewers that are on right now, that have iconic stories, that have overcome the hardship. So it's always made me think of that. Like, is it that Yvette Ulloa is better than Sally? Is it that Yvette Ulloa is smarter than Susie? Or What is it? So the way we're going to do that tonight is we're just going to be vulnerable, ask the Holy Spirit to lead us, ask you questions about your story. We'll start at the literally the very beginning. And as you start to share it, as the Holy Spirit leads me, I'm going to ask you questions about your story, which I know is a lot of fun to hear about. And then we'll also talk about the turning point. Like, what was the big thing that really helped you realize, like, I'm a fire Latina and I'm a 7-figure earner. I'm on stages. I'm blessing people. I'm in my true calling. Obstacles you've had, and then some things that you can help us take away. And then if they stay till the end, we'll let them know about the special event that we have coming up with yourself and Dave Ulloa coming up in April. So, Yvette Ulloa, help me out, sis. Let's ask you the question that we ask on Be Iconic Conversations. Who is Yvette Ulloa from the beginning?
Thank you so much, Darren, for that wonderful question. And I'll just start that I was all over the place. I was born in New York, in Queens, New York, but I didn't have the pleasure of getting to know that city, this country, because when I was 3 months old, my parents moved to Bolivia. So I grew up in Bolivia, and I actually went to a German school in Bolivia. They have a very big German influence, and my parents were teachers at the German school, so they decided I needed to learn a new language, and it was one of the most difficult schools to get into. So I actually studied German, and we did very, very long hours, very, very strenuous math and things like that. So age 13, my parents decided to move back to the USA, and we came to the USA on faith, wanted a better life, and pretty much started over. So at 13, I was like a 9-year-old at 13 years old. That was just major culture shock, going to school and just, riding to junior high, not speaking English. I spoke German and Spanish, and I went through a ton of very, very difficult years in my teenage years. And I will say the key ingredient here was I grew up with a single mom. My parents divorced when I was very, very little, and I just watched her work very, very hard, 2, 3 jobs, but she always lived doing her passion, and that was music. And as a matter of fact, when she got remarried and she met the love of her life, they met through their passion, which was music. So even though I had a lot of hardship, moving, growing up, here, language, there, just a lot of confusion and culture shock, the one resonance that I always heard was, you are going to do what you're passionate about, and you are going to be bringing God's gift to people. And I can't think of two people that are more loving than my mom and my stepdad, that are all about bringing their gifts to people of music. My parents are always volunteering at the elderly home. They find out somebody's about to die, they bring their instruments and they play some of the songs that brought them memories from their past. Somebody at a wedding, they're like, oh, we have a keyboard, we'll play music at your wedding for free. They just have this heart, and they make money with their passion. Not all the money they want, but they make it. And they gave me that true example that it's possible, whatever you want to do with your life, to make money with your passion.
Wow. So let me ask you, how do you think that impacted you, coming up? Like, watching your mom struggle, and anybody out there right now can relate to having a struggling parent or parents financially. I know mine definitely did the best with what they had coming over from Jamaica, but it was tough. Money didn't grow on trees is what they told me. So, like, I didn't know that, but how do you believe that impacted you in your life? And what was the biggest takeaway and lesson you would say that you got from watching your mom and struggle? And then even when she found, your stepdad, what was that like?
Yeah, they were so passionate about music, Darren, that they both went to the university, the conservatory, everything to study music. They put their entire life on the line to learn everything they could. And they both actually got a scholarship to go study abroad in Chile as part of a master's program. And that's when they decided to get married. The day before leaving to Chile, I was the flower girl, and I went with them. So that was like their honeymoon. and new beginnings and study music deeply for a year. And so I was always present. I was the little mascot of the group. There was 13 students, one representing each country. Bolivia happened to have the most number of applicants. So it was a God thing that both my mom and dad were selected. The only country where they both got music scholarships. So they
Wow.
decided to get married, and my dad adopted me. I'm just so grateful. I love him to pieces. And actually, they're on the podcast tonight. I'd like to give them a big shout out and love. And so we all went to Chile. And so I would remember when they were studying till like 2 in the morning, their music and writing music and choral conducting. And then, I would also be there when they would go to a party and they would sing until 2 in the morning. And I'd be like, just with them singing as well. And they would go serenade somebody whose birthday it was and wake up really early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning, to go and serenade, because that's like what you did with the music team and the music group. And so it was always music. So they inspired me that anything was possible. But what was funny is they thought my passion was teaching. So they thought that my mission in life was to teach music like them. And then I rebelled, and then I said, oh no, I will never teach. That's not my thing. I tried teaching like as a part-time teacher at the college, and I hated it. I was like, I will never teach. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
What were you teaching?
They wanted me to teach music. And when
Yeah,
I
but like
taught
what?
at
Like
the school, I was
piano,
teaching like
singing, music theory, like
piano, singing, choral conducting, all the stuff that I knew. I knew how to play the piano, the guitar,
what?
and sing, and all
I've
these
known
things.
you for 15 years. You play piano?
I do, I
What
do.
else
I
do you
play
play?
piano. I sing. That's what I do most. And I play the guitar as well.
What?
Yeah. And I love it. Like I've sang the Ave Maria at weddings, and like I have a very classically trained voice, and
Get
also a lot of
out of here.
jazz. Yeah, a lot of jazz.
Yvette, you
So
play piano and guitar. I've known you for 15 years now.
I know,
I've never seen you touch an instrument.
yeah.
What is
I've played the
going on?
piano
I
on a
bet your
couple of
mom and dad
dream
are
trips.
laughing right now. That is
Yeah.
wild.
So it is so wild because I rebelled against. I was like, no, that's your thing. That's not my thing. I'm never gonna be a teacher. And so it was so funny because I tried teaching part-time, like English at the school, and I did not like it. So I swore off, I'll never teach. I'm going to the corporate world. God has a sense of humor. My parents were training me already because at Warriors and Queens, which is our beloved company that we started 3 years ago, what do? I teach.
Teach. But you're
So
teaching,
thank you,
but you know
parents.
what though? But you know what's so important, and I want people to see this, and they'll get it as we keep talking. You're teaching something that you love and you've experienced, and you're teaching people about marriage and relationships. You've been married, you've had ups and downs, and that's really the message we want people to get, is that you have a gifting. It's being, cognitively competent, that you can share with something you learned. So I've watched you and Dave teach from Warriors and Queens, but see, I have the blessing to know your background enough to know that you're teaching from actual life experience and helping people through things you've already been through and they're gonna go through, and it is absolutely life changing. So, okay, so let's do this, Yvette, because this is good. And by the way, y'all, if you're watching this or you're listening, let us know if you're getting value. Put value in the chat. If you can relate or you're having a breakthrough, value, relate, or breakthrough, put it in the chat, because I think Yvette is just heating up here. Okay, so you rebelled from, mom and dad, we love you, but no, we're not teaching music or teaching at the time. We go through this season, we're starting to grow. We realize that's not what we want to do. Now take us. Now where do we go? We went into the corporate world, you said, and now what's the next step after that?
Yeah, I put my heart and soul into a career working with the city of Burbank. I worked my way up. I thought that's what I wanted to do. It was real estate, commercial development. I did a lot of projects for the city. I brought AMC and Yahoo to the city of Burbank. And I got so burnt out because I think burnout happens when you don't follow God's path for you.
Okay,
And
I gotta do this, right? Because
yeah.
you're just dropping so much absolute iconic value. And I want you to maybe save just no, I'm joking. Don't say save any for eighth and ninth. We're gonna give it away. But okay, so three things that I think are really impactful. One of them right now, you talked about really believing that you were in the right thing. So for the person out there right now that's in a career and they're doing their thing, especially with these times and whether they love it or not, like what made you think that being in the business that you were in and the success that you were having, what made you feel like that was the right place?
Yeah, so when I hit burnout in my career, I remember I was down on my knees praying to God and I was asking Him to send me a better way. I was like, this cannot be it. This cannot, because I watched the joy that even when my parents worked long hours, they were always smiling. And I
Mm.
stopped smiling because I wasn't following the path that He had for me.
But can
And
you
so,
break that down a little bit more? Like what about what was going on made you like sucked the joy from you? Like what was happening?
yeah, I think what was happening is that it was very mental. It was a job of just going through the motions. I would be working 10 hours a day, writing reports for the city council, analyzing economic development data, writing financial reports, negotiating real estate deals. And I would go like, I had become so masculine, Darren. That's not my core. That's not who I am. And I was just like, dressing up in suits and negotiating and these deals and working 10 hours a day. And I would come home and I'd be like, yeah, how was your day? I was like, I stopped being my husband's spouse. I started being like this being that I don't even know who that was. And I was just working so hard. And I remember my mind would be so exhausted. And I was just like, okay, I'm making good money, but I'm miserable
Mm,
because I was not serving God. I was not feeling like the gifts He had given me were actually turning into something good for humanity. I
mm,
was getting caught up into the negative Nellies that were attending city council meetings and some of my bosses where there was a little bit of a dog eat dog world. And so I just found myself going through the motions on a daily basis. And the more I did it, the more I started just becoming this person that nobody wanted to be around.
mm.
My spouse definitely didn't want to be around me. And my friends didn't want to be around me. And I became negative. I became skeptical. I became sad, lonely because I was not following God's work. I was not
Mm.
God. I was not following God's purpose for my path.
So let me ask you this real quick, Icon. When did you know? When did you know that something had to change? Can you like pinpoint? Like, was there a moment in time? Were you driving to work, driving home at a restaurant? Like, do you remember when you were like, something's got to change?
100%. And I don't think I've ever told this story, but it was, I got so sick and I had such bad pain too. I don't know if it was my stomach or what in my body. Doctors check me and they're like, you have ulcers. You
Mm.
must be really stressed out. And I was in the hospital for a few days. And when I was at the hospital, I got a call from my boss saying that they needed me to finish this report and could they bring some stuff to the hospital so that I can finish this thing that needed to go out to the city council. And
Wow.
I just remember like, what the heck? Like, you idiot. Like, I was so angry. I was so in victim mode as well. I didn't know any personal development, but I was so upset, Darren, because like you just sent work to the hospital. Like, I'm like not in a good place to do
Now I gotta ask you
anything.
this: Did you do
Yeah.
it? Did you do it?
Did I do it? What?
The work
Um,
that they sent. Do you
you know
remember?
what? I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure I did. That's just who I was and that's who I am. So
Mm.
I'm pretty sure I did. It was just probably some things that I needed to wrap up for the report because we had a big council meeting coming up. And by the way, when I went to council meetings, I would be sitting at a council meeting until 1 or 2 a.m. That's when it ended from like all the agenda items. And then I had to be at work at 7 a.m. the next day.
So that's wild. And thank you for sharing that story. You guys heard it first. The iconic conversation. Yvette Ulloa is dropping jewels she's never shared live. That's why you always share.
Never.
And it's that's why I have people tell their story, because even myself, like, people don't realize the power of actually sharing your story, going through your testimony. Even if you're speaking on stages and stuff, you get 45 minutes here, 45 minutes there. I want to know the ins and out because I can learn from what you've done, but also, and people are letting us know in the chats right now, value and relate. It makes you more relatable. So I hope that people that are doing Warriors and Queens get to hear this, because they might not get to hear this stuff when you're on stages or speaking in events, when you're helping serve them. This is about Yvette Ulloa. And so I'm here to just help facilitate and unpack this with you, because your story is valuable, and lives can be changed and blessed because of it. So thank you for sharing with us the pinpoint of when you knew something has to change. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people out there, it does get to the point of an illness. Now, I want to share this really quickly. I want, like, I'm asking a question and you can answer it, but I'm really also asking this to the audience, because for me, when our business went out of business in 2020, I'm not sure I would have left that business, even though it was so hard, and I probably should have before, because as human beings, we're systematic and we're ritual. Even when we're in a situation, in a circumstance we don't want, we oftentimes will continue to stay there because it's familiar, because people think we should. We don't like change. But why does it take us to get almost unhealthy or just believe that we can do something different? What do you think about that, Yvette?
That is a phenomenal thing there, and you know, I had the same exact thing happen when we lost our business. I needed to know, I needed to leave, but I didn't because I was comfortable. I made great money. I had all this significance and certainty in the world. Those are two of humanity's greatest needs. And I would tell you, I always feel like if you're not following your path, your mission, whatever purpose has for you, God has for you, that God will put you in the classroom. And when God puts you in the classroom, it's because you got to learn something. And it usually comes through an interruption, chaos, uh, illness,
Mm,
something that comes and boom, interrupts your path to make you pause and think and rethink and reassess your entire life, friendships, people, because it's at that moment where you get either realigned or you continue to go down a path that's not healthy for you. Things are going to get worse until you actually really, really learn what it is that you're supposed to learn in that moment. So,
mm,
when somebody comes to me and they go, I have this situation or chaos, or I just got, this illness, I'm like, okay, God has put you in the classroom. What is the lesson you need to learn? Because if
I
you
love
do
that.
not, you're going to get put in a different classroom with a similar
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
over and over until you learn.
You're not going to get to the next level, rank, whatever it is, until we learn. And sometimes people will literally, I know I've done this, but by the grace of God, through his grace, when doors are closing, it's like, all right, Lord, like, what do you want me to learn here? And my pastor said something on Sunday that he said it before, but it's pretty fresh. And I've just, I shared this to our community recently, which is God's delays is not his denials. His delays are not his denials. Like, we are in a hurry, and I can be too all the time, that I want this thing. What's my purpose? What's my calling? How am I going to change this? How am I going to get better? But there's a lesson there. And usually when the lesson is learned, we can help somebody else get through something we've been through, because God's delays is not his denials. He's going to do a work in us before he can do a work through us. And it sounds like when you're in that hospital, he was doing a work literally in you so he could do a work through you. So can you bring us there? How did he do a work in you? You've made this now decision to change. Now he's getting ready to do a work through you. What does that look like?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was literally just praying and saying, this has not got to be it. This is not what I worked for all my life. And I just climbed this corporate ladder of, you know, probably close to 10 years. And I had reached the top of my career. And I was like, is there all there is to life? So I think I went
Mm,
into kind of a midlife crisis in my very young 30s. And I asked God for guidance. I was literally like, please, if this is not what you want me to do, it surrendered me and it helped me
Mm.
humble myself to God and reconnect with God because I had not really had a relationship with God. And that's when kind of He introduced me to the next step of my path, because we had gone on this personal development, personal growth track. And we were, it's funny because, Darren, we've had this conversation of we no longer open doors. We're not in the door opening business, meaning like we don't run through walls to like create a door. We just wait to see what doors God is opening for us, and we go through those and we
Yeah.
pray around it. And what a much better way to live our life. I mean, I think I have broken my head 3 times trying to create doors with the walls
Yeah.
when I didn't see one. And so, that's something. Sometimes in business, they really push you into like, you got to break the door open. You got, but there is a better way. Like God is showing you the way. And so that's when God opened the door for me. That was unexpected. And all we wanted to do, there was this life, it was called a health, some kind of health seminar. And it was either in Fiji or in Palm Springs.
Mm.
And I told Dave, babe, we gotta go to Fiji. We've been to Palm Springs like 500,000 times because we lived, in LA at the time. And he goes, babe, that's a lot of overtime. He was a police officer. He was working the most dangerous parts of LA. He was in a lot of danger himself. He hated his job, not because of what he did. He loved to serve, but there was so much politics there. And at the time,
Yeah.
all kinds of things, pointing the finger at officers and just really, really bad politics. And so he was also looking for a way out. And I remember like it was yesterday when we wanted to go to Fiji or Palm Springs. And this is the door that God opened. And all of a sudden, I had opened a boutique selling clothes because I was trying to get out of my job already. And I thought the boutique, make money with your passion, right? So Dave said, babe, what are you passionate about? And I said, shopping.
Of course.
Make sure that when you like do your passion and Darren walks you through it in his course,
Sh-
that you do the right exercise. Because I didn't do that. I just went shopping. Well, how can we make money with shopping? And so we decided to open a boutique, which was not a good idea. We did not do the assessment of how much it would cost, what it took to run. But at this boutique, I met a guy that had a business next door. And I said, hey, I'm looking to go to Fiji. Have you heard of any like wholesale sites or wholesale travel agencies? He's like, oh, let me invite you. I have this great travel orientation and I can help you save money going to Fiji. And he invited us to the Beverly Hills Hotel. I remember like, wow, like the travel thing at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Okay, fine. And I said, babe, we're going to learn how to save money on travel. And I would love to go. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not going. Too much, I got overtime. I'm too busy. I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to take the train to work. You go. And I go, babe, we might make a business decision and I thought we were becoming travel agents. I didn't know how the whole concept worked. To make a long story short, we decided to go to this event, and that opened up our doors to travel and network marketing. That was the door that God had opened for us to step. So it had the entrepreneurship, which we loved so much, the teaching, which we started to realize was our passion, and then nurturing and loving people, which was the network marketing aspect. So that's how we got introduced. And I remember that day, the guy handed out forms, registration forms, and I'm filling it out like crazy because I want to go on that trip. And then I look over and Dave is filling it out like crazy. And I'm like, we just need to do one. He goes, no, no, no. You do this for the
Yours.
travel. I'm going to do this because it's my ticket out of the LAPD.
Wow. So wait, hold on. Let me just was this company, was this the first one of many travel companies, or was this the one that you really did it big in?
It was the preview. It was a company that the company spun from. It was a
Wow.
very small company. Not too many people knew about it. It was where the owner of the company that you and I shared, he was a top producer there. A very small brand, that was starting to kind of look into the how travel worked. And so when we joined that company, the guy that sold me the membership, he sold cemetery plots. Just some guy that has never had success in the industry. And so we joined, and we just, our life lit up with the business model, with helping people, learning to train, learning to speak. And you guys might see me very comfortable today. I was a hot mess, like with the microphone. I was a mess. And I am a true example of what's possible with a little bit of training and support and mentorship, because I was so uncomfortable around the mic. As a matter of fact, they called me Mouse in high school because I was so shy.
Wow. Well, the I think the thing, and it's going to be kind of wild because you said a lot of valuable stuff right now. But the biggest thing that stands out to me as I help people um, share their story and earn income doing it and build businesses is, okay, the boutique wasn't a great idea, but you took action, which was. And because you took action, you met someone that was going to introduce you to someone that was going to introduce you to someone, introduce you to the thing that was going to change your life. Whereas tons of people, watch this, they'll stay stuck. How do we say it? People will be physically motivated but mentally lazy. They won't allow their minds, excuse me, to think outside of their situation. Listen, I love everybody on here. I'm not trying to step on toes. This was me until I got laid off March 3rd, 2012, and got put in a position where I really needed to make a difference. And the reason why we're having this conversation is because if there's someone out there right now that is tired of being in a circumstance, tired of being in a situation, and they want more, if you have a story, if you've got value, I'm telling you, there's a way that you can find a way to really not just make income, but design a life that you want. So I want to talk about this, Yvette, because we can't go into it here. Y'all, we are doing, myself, Yvette, and actually next week on BEICONIC Conversations, we're going to be blessed to have Dave Ulloa. So this week we've got Yvette. Next week we've got Dave. And then watch this. The week after that, we're going to have them on together. So it's a lot of the Ulloas, a lot of Latin spice, some Jamaican flavor from all over, and sharing with people how they can win and share their stories. So we're going to put in the chat the link for the 2-day event where Dave and Yvette are going to be special guest speakers. It's April 8th and April 9th. It's going to be called Turn Your Iconic Unique Story into a 6- and 7-figure business. So if you're available to come to that 2-day event, make sure you register. If you're on here and you want to register and you're actually on here and Dave and Yvette invited you, they have an actual special link. So make sure you get the link from them specifically. So if you're going to register, you can register with them. But it's going to be lights out. I'm talking no fluff, next level content, teaching people how to really turn their story into that next level. What do you do? How do you take action? How do you structure it? How do you gain clarity? How do you gain purpose? All the things that you're looking to do. All right, we'll get you that information. So, Yvette, I want to ask you this, right? So you joined this network marketing company. Dave's filling out one. You're filling out the other. Your eyes open up, for the first time. Did you just skyrocket into success, or did you bang your head along the way?
We had a lot of difficult things happen. I apologize for that. We had a lot of difficult things happen along the way, Darren, and really, really, my dog was very upset that she got taken away from the Zoom. So I apologize for that.
She was getting into it
She
just
was
now.
very upset at Dave. But that's the beautiful thing about doing business with something that you love, that you create your schedule. You can work from home. You can have your pets around you. And I wouldn't trade that for anything, from working 12, 13 hours a day. But Darren, may I ask what the question was? Because I got
You're
distracted by my
good.
little dog.
So the question is, as you were making the decision to go to that next level and take things to the next level, did it just take off for you, or did you have banging your head along the way? The reason why I'm asking is, someone's like, let's say they get encouraged today. Maybe they're one of the people that says, you know what? All right, I'm going to turn my story. I'm going to figure out. I'm going to do what it takes, and they take action. and they're expecting it to just happen fast and it to just be easy and just kind of as simple as is just showing up to work and making a paycheck. Was it like that, or did you have some growing to do?
Yeah, absolutely. We really, they say when you make goals, you can make your goals. And then on the other side, you got to write down who do you need to become to attract or to have those goals happen. And so we didn't have a good influence sphere. Uh, we did not have our leadership skills or our speaking skills. So there was some hard work along the way. And I think that's what separates people. The ones that will
Mm,
not be afraid to do the work in private are the ones that will eventually get praised in public. And
mm,
I can't tell you, Darren, like from the personal development seminars that we went to, 10 years later, we would go and then they were like the lifers or like the ones that like, oh, yeah, we go every year. Like we love it. But really, has your life changed? Have you improved? Have you done the things that are required behind the scenes to make that transformation and become the person that you're supposed to be? My husband has this great, he says, the definition of hell is meeting the person you could have been.
mm.
And boy, Darren, it's like, I don't even like to just share that word, but really that just,
No,
it's
it's the
like
truth.
if you get stuck and you don't change and you don't have progress because you're not doing the behind the scenes, nothing will change in your life. And so it's about having the right mentorship, but it's also about doing the work and becoming that person, earning the influence, earning the credibility, getting those relationship skills, getting those leadership skills. And for us, it was wobbly. It took us a few years. Like we failed many times and people were mean to us and people rejected us. And, sometimes we would just like have to lick our wounds and get back up. And then, just all kinds of things happened along the way. And they always say, like, as an entrepreneur, you have to develop that rhino skin and you just have to keep on getting up. If you keep on getting up, but if God has made you strong in the mindset and in your heart, and you know what you stand for, and you walk that walk with courage and faith, He will continue to show you the way, but it's not going to be easy. You will encounter some thorns along the way, but that's how you find the roses.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that you share that, because what we want to let people know is that it's okay that it's hard. You get to choose to love to choose your hard, though, because at one stage you put yourself literally in the hospital because it was hard, but then someone won't take the jump and will continually, not just in business, in relationships and circumstances, will stay around the things that are not helping them grow. And I don't know what it's about me personally that is driven to figure out, Jim Rohn says don't take that class, but I wanted to know why people did that. And I think it's because there's actually a formula we teach. I'm going to share it real quick before we wrap up here and have you take us in for a landing. I got one more question for you. But the formula is that we teach in the mastermind, I'm gonna give it here for free, is clarity plus faith times focus over time equals your purpose. So clarity
Mm.
plus faith times focus over time equals your purpose. But people don't purchase your purpose, they purchase your story. And so when a person's clear, their faith goes up. When their faith goes up, they focus on something. When they focus on it, they spend more time on it. And if you spend more time on something, like you took action, you'll find your purpose. It might be in travel, it might be in health, might be in helping people, might be in podcasting, might be in speaking, might be in writing. And then as you're going through that system, that formula, you'll identify your story and people want to learn, like kings and queens. And so let me ask you this, Yvette. Knowing the formulas and strategies that you've been through to have the success that you've had, when you think about where you are now, if you didn't persevere, if you didn't find a way to follow God's plan like you're talking about, what do you think you'd be doing? Where do you think you would be?
If we were to really say the truth, Darren, I would not be alive. And I say that in my most honest way because I had a healing challenge, an illness that I went through that I can guarantee you, if I was still in my job, and my mindset was this small because that's how it was. Not everybody's mindset is that small, but it was with me. And if I would have had that same amount of resources, which was very limited financially, but also mentally and emotionally, I may not have found the miracle that I did, because when I transferred over to entrepreneurship, I was taught to think outside the box. I was taught to get resourceful. I was given contacts and people that showed up in my life. So when I did encounter the healing journey, a lot of people with the same thing that I had died. A lot of people with the same thing that I had multiple reoccurrences and eventually ended up having massive surgeries and some really bad results in their life. The fact that I claimed a miracle is nothing short of God's miracle in my life. But it's because I stepped into entrepreneurship, I was able to think outside the box. I was able to say, you know what? This year, I'm going to take off work and I'm going to take those resources and I'm going to limitless go find as many doctors as I need to. I'm going to talk to as many outside the box, fly as far as I need to find the resources and the results. That's how I found my miracle.
Mhm.
I would have been so limited. So had I not taken a chance on me, and had I not taken a chance on God's purpose for me, I may not be alive right now. I may be 6 foot under, and that is the truth. Dave will tell you that's the truth.
Yeah.
He and I both said it. Had he been a police officer and me with a government job, we may not have seen a way out, and we may have just been told a diagnosis and believed the diagnosis, and I may have died with that diagnosis.
Well, here's what I want to say about that before we wrap this up. The Lord spared your life because you used the gift of your mind and your resources. But how many other lives also were saved because your life was spared and kept going? The businesses that you've launched, the people that you've inspired, the ones you know, the ones you don't, the conversations been able to have, the people you've been able to give back to. That's why we help people earn income being themselves for a living. Y'all, this is not about money. I know some people are in financial situations they want to get out of, but this is truly about impact. Who are you called to impact, and whose life is not being impacted when you're not out there doing your gifting and your calling, or at least thinking about it? And you and Dave, we're so grateful for you, and you're doing that. So we've got 2 minutes left. Please tell me about, like, where can we find your new podcast? Where can we find Warrior Kings and Queens? Where can we find you?
Oh, thank you, Darren. Well, on Facebook and Instagram, it's Yvette Ulloa, YvetteUlloa. And then you can also find an amazing Facebook group where we teach some of these warriors and queens skills. We call them ninja communication skills, so you can have a better family, career, purpose, divine inspiration in your life. So you can just find us at Warriors and Queens. We're also on YouTube and just released our podcast on iTunes and Spotify. And it's all about improving your life through relationships. I mean, we've had people apply our work, get raises at work, get unexpected promotions. We had a mother healed her relationship with her children. She had not talked to them in 10 years. We
Wow.
had somebody find love after 30 years of not believing that she was deserving of love.
Wow.
And that's the kind of the magic that happens there. And I'm just like incredibly grateful to you because you have said yes to your purpose and your calling. And I am hearing the incredible stories from your students who are making a big impact on this world that's going
Right.
to change for generations. And so I really want to honor you and I want to thank you for having me.
Well, we're so grateful for you, Yvette. Dave, can't wait to see you next week. Thank you for sharing your story. Hey, y'all, blow it up in the chats, blow it up in the comments. And if you're watching this in your car on a replay, please let us know what takeaways and what value you got. We thank you so much. And guys, if you got value from this, come back to the event April 8th and April 9th. We'll have Dave and Yvette sharing. We'll probably do some breakout rooms. We're going to have a lot of fun. So, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end this in prayer because I know that there's tons of people out there that got value from this, but I want to just pray over people in general. So, Father God, first of all, before we ask you for anything, we wholeheartedly want to thank you for everything, Lord. Thank you for my sister Yvette sparing her life, Lord, and the sickness that she went through. Thank you for our families. Thank you for the ministries you've blessed us, Lord. Thank you for the people that are on watching live and replay. Thank you for their families, the things that they're going through and things that they will overcome in your name. And Lord, I ask right now for the blessings, the fresh outpouring for the single mom, for the single dad, for the elderly, for the parents, for the children, for the someone that's struggling in their business, struggling in their life, trying to find that next step. Someone that's hearing my voice right now doesn't believe in you, doesn't believe that there's a God out there that loves them, that you soften their hearts, you reveal their eyes, Lord. And we thank you, Lord, for your glory. We thank you, love, for your grace, God's riches at Christ's expense, Lord. We thank you, Lord, especially before we go into Passion Week and Easter here, that we can celebrate the greatest gift, which is you, Lord, and salvation. We ask that you bless us, lead us, and guide us in all that we do. In your name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you so much, you icon. We're going to wrap up here. Yvette, appreciate you. God bless you. Please tell my brother Dave we're excited to see him next week. Y'all blow it up in the chat for Yvette Ulloa. If you're going to register, DM me and let me know that you're registered. And we can't wait to give you a special gift. And we'll see you April 8th and 9th. And thank you for being on Be Iconic Conversations. Good night, y'all. God bless you.
Good